to another live. Here, let me adjust my lighting here. I didn't realize it was going to be as bright as it was. There we go. Live as it happens. Thank you for all being here tonight. So tonight we're going to do a review on a board game, one of my favorite board games, actually. So I'm going to show you the box, what comes with the game, how the game kind of flows. And then I'm actually going to use the cards that come with the game and maybe try and do some readings for you guys. I'm not sure how well that's going to work, but we will see. As I'm waiting for you guys to filter in. So the next upcoming shows, there's going to be one on April 14th. So there's going to be a bit more of a gap than usual, just because of the way that the Mondays fall. So yeah, the 14th is the next show, I believe. It's already posted on my page. So if not, like, subscribe, and you'll see it pop up. And it's going to be on Wisdom of the Galactics, which is a lovely deck. And I'm going to have a couple special guests on for that. And then on the 28th of April, we have my 1-year channel anniversary. Can you guys believe it? It's already been a full year. And I have a couple of special guests that are going to be popping on. Let me say hello to everybody here. So Annie Bear was a little bit early there, cooking dinner, getting ready. And Moira, nice to see you. And Hershey, thanks for popping on. Thank you for my reading earlier, too. It was great. And Oil Painter, hi, Diana. Thank you for being here, too. So, yeah, and Lois, hi, how are you tonight? You and your puppy. So yeah, we're going to talk about my favorite board game, or one of my favorites. I actually first played it at a friend's house. So it's a board game called Mysterium. So this is the box here. There is a digital version. It's not used very often. I had downloaded it at one point, but it's not used very regularly. I think people will kind of plan to get together with their friends online and kind of they have rooms that you can do where it's private. And I think it's more used for that than just getting together with strangers and playing. But yeah, so this is the hard copy version. So it comes in a nice box. And so it's recommended for ages 10 plus and for 2 to 7 people. So you can see it there on the box. And then on the back of the box, it has all the stuff that the game comes with. So I'll be able to show you in a bit more detail. But you have the game board. So if you guys have played Dungeons and Dragons or heard of Dungeons and Dragons, it's kind of like a similar concept. So you have your, the person who plays the ghost, who's the one that has the board here, and then you have all of your game pieces. So if you guys have ever played Clue or know about Clue, it's kind of like a version of Clue. So the idea of the game, so Moira was just asking here, can you play solo, like wearing 2 hats? Not really, because you as the ghost are giving people clues. So you'd already know the answer. So you do need at least 2 people to play. It is more fun with more people, of course. So the way it works is, so these panels here, and I can show you better when I get the box unpacked, but each of these colors corresponds to a character in the game. So basically the story of the game, and it may actually even be in here so I can read it to you, is that there's, I think, six clairvoyants, and you are the ghost, and they're trying to figure out who killed you. And the way that you figure out who the murderer is by the ghost giving you visions through cards. So let me see what it says here. What's the little synopsis? It says, will you dare to cross the threshold of the haunted Mysterium manor? So it says, in this asymmetric cooperative game, so by cooperative, it means that everybody can work together to win the game. It's not, one person against the other person. You're going to work together. And I think that's partially why I like the game so much. So one player adopts the role of the ghost, and the others play as psychics. All players share the same goal of shedding light on the strange circumstances surrounding the ghost's death and laying his spirit to rest at last. Unable to speak, the ghost attempts to communicate by sending visions to the gathered psychics, who will be able to reconstruct the events of the fateful evening by correctly interpreting these ethereal messages. Cooperation and inspired guesswork will facilitate their task of unmasking the culprit, but time is short. The team has only 7 hours in which to contact the ghost and solve this enduring mystery. So yeah, so it says, step aside, be seated, and let your intuition guide you. Yeah, so that's the basis of Mysterium, but I'll show you guys in a bit more detail the things in the game. There you can see like there's a clock there that counts down the 7 hours. You can glimpse some of the cards there too. I'll show you the cards a little bit better. The artwork is absolutely gorgeous in the cards. And then the way it works too, so much like in Clue, you have a person, place, thing that you have to figure out, and that's what you have these 3 different levels. You have your person, your place, and your thing. So I'm going to just open it up here. So yeah, it has a really nice guide. So this is the like guidebook, the game guide. And it does have different rules for like 2 to 3 player games versus 1 player games. How long have I been playing? I've played the game through thoroughly, probably about 3-4 times in person. I really enjoyed playing the digital version for a while, if you could get enough people to come online and play it. I'm very artistically minded, so the surreal cards, I find it really, it may be too that I, being intuitive, but I find it really, I can really pinpoint what the person's trying to tell. So I find the game fun in that respect, and helping others try and see things that are in the cards that maybe somebody else won't have thought of. And you'll see what I mean by the different cards corresponding to the person, places, and things. Depending on how the ghost thinks, it can be very direct or very abstract. So again, it really just depends on the person that's playing the ghost a lot of the time. Oh, and Hershey used to play D&D and Magic and Clue. See, so I feel like you would love this game. So yeah, so this is the guidebook. It walks you through. So yeah, there's a little bit, you can see here, a little bit of a backstory. So here, what does it say? It says, Dearest Alphonse, since I last wrote, supernatural events have been occurring at the manor on a daily basis. In the course of my investigations, I came across a few old newspaper cuttings mentioning the tragic demise of a manservant nigh on 30 years ago. Although the police quickly concluded that the death was accidental, rumors about the circumstances continued to circulate. It seems the case was rushed, and I'd bet my last shilling that my ghost has something to do with this story. Sadly, he is unable to manifest in our world for long enough to communicate. By combining our forces, we might just be able to give him the energy he needs to deliver his message. I therefore repeat my invitation. I would be delighted if Alma, Al-Hashir, Madame Wang, Jocelyn, and your good self could join me without delay to solve this mystery. It says, I look forward to receiving your reply. Ever yours, MacDowell, who I guess is the person who owns the manor. Okay, Hershey, you'll be back. No worries. So there's a little bit of a explanation. So you have 6 psychics. And I'll show you, they have little play cards, so I'll show you those. These are just black and white photos. But I will show you the color ones. So let me just, so yeah, this is little inserts that they have, but this shows you about the like online digital version. So it's an app. I'm gonna take this out. And some semblance of organization, because that's always helpful. So yeah, so this is that big game board I was showing you. So this is the side that you as a player would see, which kind of shows the mansion. And then you have the other side, which has those slots for the different cards. So, and the different colors correspond to the different psychics. So let me find the player cards. And what's really nice is the playing pieces are really nice, thick cardboard. So for example, this these are the kind of what like the place cards, I guess, for the person and the thing items. So you'd have these kind of dividing each of the sections that you have to work through and figure out. Right? Yeah, I thought so. I thought that too, Moira. Looks like Gerald in a suit. Oh, sounds like fun. A little bit like Midnight Party by Ravens, but for bigger kids. Yes, exactly. You got it. Yeah. It is really pretty. Yeah, I love the artwork and the style that they have for this. So yeah, let me just get some of the stuff out of the box. Oh, the other part of it. So you'll see these little colors. I won't go into a huge amount of detail, but you can actually, when you get into the upper levels, you can actually vote on people's choices. So if they are like, I think my card means it's this person, you can vote and to say whether you think they're right or wrong and get extra points. And those extra points, when you get towards the end of the game, will actually allow you to see more cards that will help you determine the final kind of combination of person, place, and thing. So the thing that complicates the game, I guess it doesn't. Yeah, I guess it complicates the game just a little bit, is each of the 6 psychics is going to get a different message. It's going to be a different person, a different place, a different thing. So it's not the same for everybody. And it's actually the ghost who decides whose combination is the right one at the end, and nobody else knows but that ghost. So that's what kind of makes it fun, is that nobody actually knows to that last piece, and everybody has to get through their person, place, and thing. Where that's why it's cooperative, is that you want to help everybody get to the end to have that last kind of show. Otherwise, you didn't all get to the end. So let me find. Oh yeah, there we go. This is better. I'm gonna be jumping all over the place, guys. Sorry. So yeah, this is the little timer. So you have, you start at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you have 7 rounds to get all the way through. This thing always needs to be tightened, but Oh yeah, there's the place. The place card holder. All right, so these are our people. Sorry, should have planned this better. Where is everything? Oh, there is a sand timer as well. So the more complicated games, you can actually have like a certain amount of time that the people have to look at their cards. So that can make it, more or less difficult depending on, the people who have played, how experienced they are in the game. Dropping things on the floor. Wouldn't be a fun night without dropping things on the floor, right? Oh, you never read game instructions for an extra layer of fun. Oh dear. There you go. Yeah, I like it because Clue. You're trying to go against everybody else. That's what I love about this one, is that you can work together. We can ask people for advice, all that kind of stuff. Oh, here we go. These are the cards I was looking for. You can also increase the difficulty in the game. So there's what they call ravens, which is kind of fun. So you have these little raven cards, and there's 3 of them, and that can actually limit the ghost as to how many times they can reshuffle the deck and redraw cards. So again, just causing another kind of layer. I'm going to put these smaller cards away just because we'll use the bigger cards because you guys can see them better. I won't go through each card in major, too much detail, but I will at least show you an idea of what they look like. And I'll give you an example, too, of how the clues work. So this is the deck that the ghost uses with the cards. So, so similar thickness to an actual tarot deck. Okay, so these are the different characters. So you have Conrad McDowell, who is the owner of the mansion. So he's the guy on the front. As I said, Maura said, looks like Gerald in a suit. So this is one of the characters, and each of the characters has a corresponding color. So for example, you have these little cute, really cute, adorable little crystal balls that are your little playing token. So when you're guessing as to who your person, place, or thing are, you would sit your little token on that card. And then these are the little voting tokens. So you have, I think, 3 or 4 of each. So you have either a check mark or a little X, and that allows you to vote on other people's choices. IYT social, yeah. Everybody's wondering about the comments about the cows. I'm studying for an exam. I'm writing an exam tomorrow night, and I've been studying all day. I do actually, Moira. I do enjoy being the ghost because you have to look at the different combinations and pick a card that you hope the person will get the hint that you're getting at. So it is, even as the ghost, you are having to think because you want them to win. I wouldn't play to make everybody lose. That's not the point of the game. So yeah, I do enjoy actually playing the ghost and choosing the cards instead of guessing the cards. But I mean, I enjoy both roles. So yeah, so that's the first character. The next one is Alma Salvador. So I like her character. She's one of my favorite ones to play. So you can see she actually has a pendulum there, which is kind of cool. And each of them has a little story or like a little summary. So their specialty. So Conrad's specialty is crystal gazing, of course. Alma's is pendulum divination. So they all have their different little clairvoyant tools, which is kind of fun. And then we have Madame Wang, who uses I Ching or bibliomancy. So you can see her book there. So I think that's kind of cool that they're kind of, involving the I Ching in this. You have Alphonse de Belcourt. He does numerology. I'm trying to see what he has in his hand there. Oh, it looks like he has dice, maybe? Yeah, it looks like maybe dice in his hand there. But numerology. Ardhashir uses talismans. He has a little talisman in his hand there. And then you have Jesslyn Smith, who is a tarot reader. She has her tarot cards there. So those are the six characters. And I have played with more than 7 people as well. I've just had people, will team up. They'll double up as a team, for example. So the aim of the game is for every, so it says Mysterium is a cooperative mystery solving game in which everyone wins or loses together. All players share the same goal of uncovering the truth behind the death of the ghost that haunts the manor, thereby putting his soul to rest. So as the ghost, you would distribute cards to guide the psychics, helping them to make the right choice that will allow the investigation to make progress. And the psychics will receive cards from the ghost and use their intuition to try to correctly interpret the message. So I will show you some kind of examples of card. I'll show you the cards and then some examples of how that would maybe help somebody guess. YT Social, I'm not very familiar with the I Ching. Jen, so my holistic self, is very knowledgeable on that, so she'd be a better one to ask about that. I think she may have even done some videos if you go look back on her channel. I know she's very knowledgeable in the I Ching. Let me see here. So I will show you some of the cards. Here, this is a better image than the back of the box. So you can see the kind of layout of how you'd have the game set up with your different person, place, and thing, and the game board. And yeah, it has different ways of setting the difficulties. So, easy, medium, and hard. So I love that too, because the more you play, the harder you can make it. So it has lots of replayability in that regard. So yeah, let's look at the actual cards here. I'm going to put this out of the way. So, let me see here. Let me find one that's on the easier side here. So this is a good one to show you as an example. Yeah, this one. We'll go with this one. So each of the people, they have different things around them that kind of note what their job is. So for example, like this one is the seamstress. This one is, a clockmaker, for example. So with all the gears. Hi, Karen. Thanks for popping in. This guy's a hunter, for example. I'm an explorer. And so yeah, so they all have different little things. Like this guy's a magician. So he has the cards and the cape and the wand. Hi, Janet DC. Yeah, I'm showing one of my favorite games today. It's called Mysterium. I'll show you the box towards the end there. But it's a cooperative game. So I'm showing you guys, it's a game I love so much. And I thought you guys would absolutely love because it has, some of the clairvoyant stuff involved. So I thought it was perfect topic. Smoke coming out of his ears. I think it's his hair. He's got a moustache and some hair. But yeah, so there's a bunch. There's even like a nun. So you have the rosary. So you would kind of shuffle these and pick 6 so that they were at random. So for example, let's choose. Who do we want to? What character do we want to choose? I know I only showed you a couple, but what character do you guys want me to choose? There's even a chef here. Or should I shuffle? Should I shuffle and choose one? Let's do it that way. With the explorer. Sure, Annie. Let's do the explorer. Where did she go? Explorer. Watch it be the last one. There she is. Okay, perfect. Explorer. And then we'll do the clockmaker as well. Because yeah, it'll be good to show you guys a couple different examples. Yeah, I love that each of the characters, the main kind of psychics you get to play, all have different types of tools that we use in clairvoyance, which is super cool. Here, yeah, and I'll give it a good shuffle. I'll pick one more. All right, for Diana, I'm going to do a shuffle. As I said, I'm going to try and maybe do some readings with the cards after, so we'll see how this goes. Okay, that one. Ooh, the nun. We got the nun. All right. So I'll show you the people first, and then it's repeatable for the person, places, and things. So these are the places. So there are different places around the mansion. So for example, like this is the pool. You have like an outdoors kind of, sitting area. You have a kitchen, a study, an attic. So this would be all the different places. Oh, this one? Yeah. Yeah, it's a little bit of interesting shape right now, isn't it? Greenhouse, like a little tool shed. So these are all the different places. And then we also have things. So the object that they were used to, be killed. So there's like a box, a rope, Sweeney Todd, switch knife or pocket knife. Moira, no, I haven't, but I don't see why they wouldn't work. Yeah, I know. I love the artwork. I absolutely love the artwork. You get a candlestick as well. So anyway, so there's a bunch of different tools or tools of the tools of killing. Yeah, switchblade. That's the word, Annie. Thank you. So that I'll show you with the people, and then the concept is the same for location and thing. So these are the cards the ghost would use. So they're very, very surreal artwork. So you can see here, for example. I'll show you a couple here. So like this would be a good one, for example, to show for the adventurer because they're on an adventure. So that would be what you would be hinting at with that. This one's kind of creepy where it has the spider and all the webs and everything like that with the chandelier. This one's always good for the hunter, for example, because there's arrows and targets. No, I haven't, Moira. I don't tend to do the true crime readings and stuff like that, but they'd probably work for that. I don't see why they wouldn't. You like that reference, Diana? Yeah, Sweeney Todd. So this one, for example, has like swords in the background. There's a person there, but then there's also feathers, like white birds, like a dove. There's this one too where a person's running away and you have the red carpet and stuff like that. So for example, with this one, you might be hinting at that there's red in the person's card. So let me see if I can find some examples here for the different cards. This is always one of my favorites, actually, this one, where it looks like it's the Grim Reaper or Death picking apples. This is one of my favorites, and it has the snake in the bottom there. Let me see here. Let me see if I can find some good examples. This is another one too. Guy bicycling in the sky. So that one might be a good one for the clockmaker because bikes have gears, for example. It's kind of that kind of abstract thinking. Because the thing is that as the ghost, I think you're only allowed 7 cards. So you have to be very selective about who or what you can give to people. You don't have the entire deck to choose from. And that's where those ravens come in, where you're limited on how many times you can redraw and reshuffle. Like this one's always good for the chef because it's a car basically made out of cooking things and desserts. So like that would be a good one for our chef. Let me see. This is another favorite of mine too, actually. Paintbrushes and the flowers with and I think there is one that the person's a sculptor, so you could use that for artwork. There you go. Maybe it happened. Yeah, red carpet. Maybe it happened at the Oscars. Yeah. Let me see here. So we're looking for an adventurer, a clockmaker, and a nun as an example of what we can pull for cards or what would be good for cards. So like maybe this one would be good for the nun. It would be very abstract, of course, but you have the gargoyles, which are, kind of are on churches, for example. So that maybe would be a good one for the nun. This one's very Alice in Wonderland, I find, because it has all the bunnies kind of falling down into the well. Let me see. Like that would be another good one maybe for the adventurer, where you have a guy there on the train. And I mean, the other thing you can do too is, for example, we have a white horse and a black, horse or creature there, and the nun wears black and white. So it can be thought of that way too. This one where I showed you the seamstress earlier with thread and buttons, that would be a good one for the threads and the buttons, for example. Like this would be another good one for the adventurer because she has a very similar hat. So I don't know if you can see in that picture there. So you'd look at that and you'd have the 6, everybody would have, there'd be the 6 people from the 6 people playing or however many people are playing. And you'd also be able to kind of do process of elimination. So if somebody else says, I'm really confident that one's my guess, then that maybe rules out one that if you think there's more than one, that could be an option. Yeah, she's walking into a fish. Yeah, see? Isn't that so silly? I love these cards. As I said, I love the artwork in here. This would be maybe another one here. That would be good for the nun. Where, they're sometimes cloistered. There's a little teddy bear there too. That would be another option for the nun, I think. This one always makes me laugh. He looks like he's stretching and yawning after waking up. There's these ones too, which are kind of interesting. They have rats on a chessboard. So again, black and white, for the nun. Or maybe there's a general, I think, as one of the characters. So you can use that as maybe, a general needs to kind of be plotting their next move. Oh, here, this is always a good one for the clockmaker because you do have all the gears and the nuts and bolts and everything. So that one's a really good one, would be a really good one if you got it to give to the person that had the clockmaker. Oh, here, organ. That would probably be a good one for the nun because the organs are in churches. So yeah, so that's a couple examples of some of the cards that you can get. As I said, they're all very, very surreal. So yeah, there's very, very interesting cards. So how are we doing for time? Oh, still got lots of time. I'm trying to think how we want to go about doing this. So what I might do is I'm going to randomly shuffle each of these decks. I'm going to choose a person, place, and thing. I'm going to then choose the 7 cards like I would for a ghost. And then you guys can try and guess the person, place, and thing. What do you guys think about that? Do you think that's a good idea? And then I'll do some card readings for you guys too. Yeah, let's choose you a person. And then you guys can work together and try and figure it out. Because we're playing a 2-person game, right? Because, yeah, what are the rules? What does it say for a 2 to 3-person game? Okay, let's see here. Yeah, it's a little bit easier when you can actually see all the cards. So what I'll do is I'll just choose the one for today. If one wants to pop out and cooperate, that would be nice. Just one card. One card, please. Actually, here, this is probably the easier way to do it. Is there 14 cards? No, there's not. Of course, they're not in numerical order. That would be too helpful. So yeah, what I'll do is maybe, what does it say here? We're kind of doing this on the fly. So it says for a 2-person game, randomly create 2 additional groups of cards with a character, location, and object in each group using psychic cards discarded during the game, bringing the total number of groups to 4. So yeah, I'll do that. I'll pick 4, and then you guys can pick. We'll need to pick 1 out of the 4. How does that work? And then that way I'll list off what the 4 options are. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, and then I'm going to do a place. Yeah, that's the thing about lives, right? We're doing this as it happens. All right, so we're going to do that one there, that one there, that one there, and pick that one from the front. So I'm just going to draw the person, places, and things here first. Yeah, yes, exactly. Cooperative. You guys are going to work together. And I'm going to choose which group I'm going to basically make the right group for you guys. All right. Yeah. Dropping cards on the floor again, guys. Okay, there's our 4, 2, 3, 4. All right. So I'm going to pick this group here, I think, as our correct group. Ooh, these are some good ones. What is that one? Oh, that's what that is. All right. So we're going to do our person first. And then once we guess the correct person, we're going to do place and thing. All right. So the first person we have is a musician. Or I'm going to guess he's a musician, a bagpiper. So this is him here. We have a postman. There you go. Yeah, exactly. It'll be interesting to try it that way. You have a hunter. And then we have the seamstress. You see buttons and threads and needles and all of that fun stuff. So what I'm going to do, thank you, Annie Bear, for posting the different options. So yeah, we have musician, postman, hunter, and seamstress are our options, guys. And now I'm going to pull 7 cards that I'll have an option. Because can I choose 7? I think I can choose. Do I choose 7 cards? I think I can still pull 7 cards. Yeah, I'll pull 7 cards. It'll just give me more options to show you guys. I care. Oh, you had a crush on an Irish guy who played the accordion when you were younger? That must have been a story. That must have been a story there. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. All right. So out of my 7 cards, I need to give you one that I think will help you figure out who the person is. And this is where it starts getting a little crazy. Looking at all the little details of the cards as well. And if at some point you want me to show you the person card again, I can definitely show that to you as well. Choices. They don't make it easy, that's for sure. All right, this is the card I'm going to choose. I'm going to put these back in the pile. So we'll go through, I'll show you a card. You guys can go through a round of guessing. And it will do basically the most people's votes is what they'll choose. If you guys don't get it the first round, I'll choose another card and you'll get 2 cards. So this is the card I chose. So remember again, you had the musician, the postman, the seamstress, and the hunter. So this is a card. So just post your guesses. So yeah, do we think it's the musician, the postman, the hunter, or the seamstress? Again, I'll kind of zoom in on the card there for you. Okay, so Annie's guess is seamstress. Does anybody else have a guess? Moira's guessing the musician. It looks like it's maybe a house in the background there. Can't really tell. Okay, so Annie, you're changing your guess to the hunter. Okay, we've got 2 for the music. 3 for the music, I think, right? 3 for the musician. You would know the chef, yeah. So we had, let me see. So yeah, I think, what was it? 3 for the musician, was that right? 1, 2, 3. Magician, musician. All right, so I think we had 3 votes for musician, and then I think 1 for the, was it 1 for the hunter? And 1 for the seamstress? All right, so it is not the musician, so you guys can rule him out. So I will pick another card. Pick another card to show you guys. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And also this game relies on the ghost getting good cards. That's the other part of this. Right, so that's probably a good option for that one. We'll go see if there's any better options than that. And I'm about to sneeze. Oy, bless me. No, I think we'll use that one. All right, so now I can show you the 2 cards together. So your second card is the one I showed you with the bunny rabbits and the ladder going down the well. So these are your 2 cards together. So your choices are the postman, the seamstress, or the hunter. So what's your guess? You're guessing who the killer is, Moira. So out of the 3 people now left, who do we think the killer was? Based on these 2 cards. Okay, Diana says a hunter. No, magician still isn't an option, Moira, but that would be a good guess if it was. There is a magician, but not in this group. Nope. Annie Bear says hunter. One more guess. I think there's 7 of you watching. So anybody else want to make some guesses here? Because we're doing majority popular vote. When you sneeze, dog drop. When my mom sneezes, she breaks the sound barrier. I'm pretty sure. Postman, okay. Lewis magician. There's no magician. So we got 2 for the hunter, 1 for the postman. Janet says postman. All right, Karen, you're saying hunter? So yeah, you guys are right. It was the hunter. So I can kind of explain my rationale behind it. So of course the rabbits hunting, but this card, I didn't have a lot of options with the first round of cards, but I thought the knife was a good kind of representation of the hunter. So because he has a knife in the picture here. So in his picture, he has a little pocket knife there. And that's the thing too, is it's a little bit more complicated for you guys doing it distance because you would have these pictures laying in front of you that you could study and look at while you're making your decision. So you guys actually have it a little bit harder than if we were actually playing the game in person. But the other thing too is that hat kind of looks like it's waiting to capture that little bug at the bottom there. So it could be a trap, and hunters set traps. So yeah, that's an example of how that would go. But a magician, if the magician was there, it would be one that could definitely be a guess. All right, so we got our person. Now we're going to do our place. So I'll show you guys the different places that we have to choose from. You guys did awesome first round. You got it by the second go. You got it. Good job. Hi, JJ. Thanks for popping in. Hope the renos are going okay. All right, so our 4 places we have to choose from are a child's bedroom. And again, while we're playing, if you want me to hold the cards up again, let me know. But a child's bedroom is the first one. We have, I guess, a master bedroom. So there's a harp there. There's a lion, red sheets, and a hat. Actually, there's a hat at the bottom there too. And then we have a study, kind of a traveler, naval kind of study there with masks and ships and maps and everything. And then we have the pool, so the outdoor pool. I don't know if I'd want to go swimming in that, but there's an outdoor pool there. Yeah, so this is where. So like with Clue, where you have, a person, the place, and the thing, we're going to guess the where. So who. Or not who, but where the murder happened. So we know the murderer, in this case, because we're playing this a bit differently, but we know the murderer is the hunter, but now we're trying to guess where it happened. And as I said, we're playing this a bit differently than you would with the game. In the game, everybody would have a different person that they would have to guess. They'd each have a different place they'd have to guess. And then they have a different thing they have to guess. And then it's the ghost. Actually, there's one final round where the ghost decides which combination is the right combination, and then everybody has to vote based on 3 cards. Okay. Based on 3 cards, what it is. So there is one last vote or one last kind of master round where everybody actually has to guess the right combination. We're just going to that very end, finding the right combination piece. But all right, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. 7 cards. Flying cards, you got it, Annie, right? All right, so we're trying to do place. See what my options are here. That's actually, I got a really good card for this round, guys. So hopefully you get it on the first guess, but we'll see. So this is the card I have. So to remind you, the places are a child's room, a pool, a bedroom, or the study. So this is the card here. So there's, looks like a broom maybe, some kind of line with some birds there, and a boat with a bottle in the water. Okay, so Lois happened at the sea. Moira's pool. Karen says guest. Guest house, is that the bedroom that you're guessing, Karen? Do you guys want me to show you the pictures of the places again up next to the card? Because I can do that if you want. Yeah, it's a broom. I don't know how well you can see it there, but there's like bristles on the broom. It's a broom. And there's as I said, there's a boat there. My lighting is not the greatest. Sorry, guys. There. Boat with a bottle. So these are the 4 places you have to choose from. So you have the child's bedroom. Trying to get the light right. Sorry, guys. You have the pool. You have the bedroom. Or you have the study. So pool, children's room, study, or bedroom. Yeah, me too, Annie Bear. I love the artist's sketches. So based on this, where do we think it happened? Okay, Diana says pool. Lois, I think you said pool. Annie, you're saying the bedroom. Wait for one more guess there. You have 2 for pool, 1 for bedroom. If you posted your guess earlier, just post it again if you haven't changed your mind. 2 for pool, 1 for the bedroom. Need at least 1 more vote. Okay, Karen says a study. Is there anybody else out there that wants to make a guess? All right, Janet says pool. All right, so it's not the pool, so you guys can rule that one out. And I will pick 7 more cards. Yeah, that pool really needs to be cleaned, doesn't it? It looks gross. Ew. All right, they wanted me to pick from the middle here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1 more here. Maria, your guess is the study now? Yeah, you can see how there's kind of like a bit of a ruling out of things. They're being harder on me this round, though. Which one do I want to go with for this one? That one might be a good choice, but I could split it too. Trying to find a good choice for you guys. But no, let's go with that one. That's what my gut's saying, so we're going to go with that one. All right, so I'm going to show you the places again. So we have the child's bedroom, just to review. We have the bedroom. You need licorice, be right back. Priorities, always good to have good snacks. And then the study. All right. So if you want to remember, our first card was this one. And then the second card is this one here. So these are the 2 cards together. You guys can start making your guesses. I'm going to see if turning this, there we go. That's probably a little bit better for you guys. Still not great, but my house is very backlit. I'm sorry. Now I know why Gerald gets frustrated with glossy cards for tarot. Now you do remember why you don't play Clueless? Oh, you guys are doing great. All right, so Diana says study. What about you guys? What's a wrench in the study? Is your guess the study, Karen? But you can see how, depending on how you see things, it could mean a couple of different places, right? So this is what makes the game makes your brain think. have to kind of think outside the box sometimes. So based on these two cards, where do we think it happened? So we're guessing where. So you have the child's bedroom, the study, or the master bedroom. And these are the two cards you have to choose from, Annie. So you have the one that we had before with the boat and the bottle and the water, and then this is the second card here. Lois, your guess is the study. Do we have any more guesses? Here, same first. Yeah, yes, the study. Clue was one of my favorite games. Annie's is the bedroom, the children's bedroom. So you guys that said the study are correct. So the reason I chose these cards, one, the second round was not the greatest. But there is a boat in the study, and there's a boat in the card there, as well as I think somebody said there's a painting of the ocean in the background. And then I chose the second one. As I said, I didn't have a lot of good options for the second round, but because there's a chair in the study, I chose the chair there. It was a bit more of a stretch, and you also have the snake charmer there, so, travel and adventure. It was a bit more of a stretch, but as I said, I didn't have as many good cards to choose from for that one. Yeah, you're right, exactly, yeah. It's because that's imagination all over the place, yeah. All right. So we got one last round, you guys, and then I'll try and do these card readings with these cards. All right, so now we're gonna guess the thing. So the thing that murdered the ghost. So we know so far that the hunter did it in the study, but we're gonna now figure out what the murder implement was, or the unaliving implement. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that M word on YouTube, but anyway. So we have that switchblade that I showed there. So the switchblade is one of the tools. Weapon, yes, you got it. We have a candlestick or a candelabra, or Lumiere if you watch Disney movies. Just thought, what room would you clean more? That's a mom talking right there, Karen. We have an iron, like an old-fashioned iron that you'd sit on a wooden stove and heat up. And then we have a rope. So yeah, so we have switchblade, candelabra, rope, or iron. So I'm going to do my 7 cards again. Yeah, none of those sound fun to be murdered with, right? All right. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to split the deck and do some from the middle. 4, 5, 6, and 7. All right. Choices. You're not giving me much to play with here, guys. I've got to tell you. All right, we're going to go with this one. As I said, not the best to choose from, but we're going to go with this. Right? Yeah, I don't know. All right, so this is the card you have to choose from. So it's an organ. And you had the switchblade, the candelabra, the iron, or the rope. So what do you guys think? What's your guess for the thing? Okay, Moira's guessing the candelabra. The rope, okay. We may need 2 cards for this one. As I said, they didn't give me really good choices for this round. Yeah, you're welcome, Karen. As I said, we're playing the game a little bit differently than we would if we were playing in person, but it's a lot of fun. Oh, that's a smart thought. For Living in Radiance says the iron because they are both made of metal. That's a good thought. And if everybody wants to say hi to Living in Radiance, that's my mom. Okay, Moira says Switchblade. Annie says Candelabra. Who's keeping count of the votes here? So we got, I think, what, 2 for Candelabra, 1 for the iron. Okay, 3 for Candelabra. So it is not the Candelabra, so you can rule that one out. That's a good guess, though. Yeah, as I said, it didn't give me many. I didn't have very good card choices for that one. Is that a Switchblade floating? I don't know. I think it's more like a. Looks almost like a paper airplane or something. All right. Gonna choose another 7 cards here, and then that way I can give you guys another hint. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right, we're gonna go with this one. Again, it's not the easiest choices here, guys. I'm telling you. All right. Hopefully you can maybe get it with this one. So reminder, again, our choices are the Switchblade, the rope, or the iron. Oh, Karen, that's nice of you to say. She says, hi, Kaylee's mom. You're doing an amazing job of raising Kaylee. Oh, that's nice of you guys to say that. Thank you. What was your guess there, Diana? I'm going to have to scroll back up. Your guess was rope. Okay. All right. So, yeah, Switchblade, iron, and rope. So this was the first one, just to remind you guys. We had the organ. And the second one is this one here. So it's like a doorway with shoes and keys and a window and a door. So these are your 2 cards. What are your thoughts? Okay, Annie Bear says iron. Oil Painter said rope. Now we're trying to get, yes, the victim is a ghost. The victim is dead. We are clairvoyants trying to guess, based on the images he's sending us, who the murderer is. So we already know who the murderer is and where they did the deed. Now we're just trying to figure out what the implement or the weapon was. Was it a switchblade, an iron, like a really heavy kind of metal iron, or was it a rope that did the deed? Moira says iron, and he said iron. Any more guesses? This is as clear as soup. Yeah, Annie Burke. See, it can be hard sometimes. As I said, I'm picking 7 cards and having to give you guys clues based on the 7 cards I pull. So it's not always straightforward, that's for sure. But you also have to think outside the box. Do we have any more guesses? I think we have 3. Do we have 3 for iron now? Yes, 3 for iron. So you guys are right. Yeah, it was the iron that was the weapon. So Living in Radiance was right. The reason I chose the first one, as I said, there wasn't a lot of good choices, but it was because of the metal used for the iron. And then the second one I chose, again, not great choices, but I thought, irons are used at home. There seems to be lots of people or lots of kids there. So you're probably going to be ironing some clothes. It would have been nice to have, clothes hanging on a line or something like that, but we got to work with what we got. All right, so we are past the hour, but I'm going to just do, or attempt to do here, a collective reading with the cards. And then maybe next time I can try and do it fully, but here, I'll show you the end results here. So we had the hunter in the study with an iron. All right. The ghost could cheat. Well, the ghost is the one that's giving the clues for everybody, right? Well, yeah. So that's where I was saying. So we were saying like, the ghost could cheat. But that's one of the things that's really, really nice is that the level of complexity. So at the easier level, the ghost can reshuffle as many times as they want. And that's where those ravens come in, is if you want to make the game more complicated, you limit the number of times the ghost can shuffle so they don't have as many choices. It's like we're related or something, isn't it? Oh, was there a knife in that? I didn't even notice. With the organ? Watch me not be able to find that card now, right? Where'd it go? There it is. Looks like there's maybe like boats or something with people in them. But yeah, maybe where like the wisps are. Is that what you're saying with the switchblade, maybe? As I said, you'd be able to definitely look at these cards a lot closer and a lot better, in person than streamed. To the left. Yeah. I think my mom's played this with me, if I remember correctly. All right, can we have, let's say, 3 cards for the collective? 3 cards for the collective, please. It says we're going to give this a try. I'm going to give this a go. All right, so 1. That was 2. I've heard about remote viewing, Karen. Karen was just asking if anyone's interested in remote viewing. I've heard about it. I've not really done much of it, but you're gonna get murdered. No, I'm just gonna use these ones, the cards, just to see if I can do a reading based off of them. Kind of like you would with tarot cards, but we're going to use these surreal cards. But I think you've played Mysterium with me, Mom, at my birthday or something, I think. 1 more card, guys. Come on. They're like, no, we're not going to give you 1 more card. Aha, that one. All right. Yep, you're all getting murdered. Looks like you guys are all going on an adventure or on a trip. Because the first card I got is, there's 3 people at the bottom here. Camels. But then there's this lady on the ship with a lion. This always kind of gives me Narnia vibes. It's like Lion Witch in the Wardrobe. So you guys are all going on an adventure maybe in June. You got lion, so Leo season, May, June time frame. Or is it June, July? But yeah, maybe you guys are all going on a trip this summer. The reason I say a trip is because the second card I got is a lady here with her bags going across a river on a bridge. So we're going to maybe be making some connections, crossing some bridges, going from one side to another, changing our way of thinking. Trip with Aslan on a safari. Yeah, I'd be there. And then the last one I got, which is where I was joking you guys are all going to get murdered, is there's a saw, a scythe, and a whip. But to me, it looks like they're kind of hanging on a wall, like a barn wall or something like that. Yeah, it looks like maybe a barn wall. So maybe I take this more as like hard work. So you've been hard at work, and this journey that they're talking about, your hard work to build those bridges. Here, let me put it in the order. So the hard work is going to building those bridges is going to pay off. You guys are going to go far. Reach out to these 3 people at the bottom. Yeah, so that's my reading with these cards. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me tonight. Oh, your birthday's in June, Karen. That's awesome. You're going to sneak out that door? Yeah. Hey, Annie, it's not that type of show. But thank you guys so much for all sticking around and hanging out. I hope you guys loved the game. So yeah, the game, for those that weren't here at the beginning, is called Mysterium. There is a digital app version. As I was saying, I don't know how often it is used. When I had it initially downloaded, it wasn't, it didn't seem very busy. It might have been when the game first came out. But the hard copy game, you can definitely order. I think we got ours through our local kind of Walmart grocery store, those kinds of places. Probably get it off of Amazon, all those places that you can kind of get other board games. It's a really fun cooperative game. Get your friends together, have fun being psychic, or more psychic, or less psychic, or however you guys want to take that. Maybe playing the game with your less woo-woo friends, get them interested in some of the psychic stuff. It's like, could be almost like Reiki, and could be, a pathway to other bigger things. So yeah, next show, there's going to be a bit more of a gap than normal between shows. So the next show is on the 14th of April. We are going to be talking about Wisdom of the Galactics, which is a new deck I got. I'll show you guys just a quick preview here. So it's the Wisdom of the Galactics by Dr. Lisa Thompson. So we're going to show you the new deck, talk about ETs, so bring all your ET questions. I'm going to have a couple very special guests that are going to be on the show. And then on the 28th of April, the day after my birthday, we are going to be celebrating the 1-year anniversary of the channel, which I cannot believe it's been a year. Oil Pager, so much fun. Thanks for the change of energy. Blessings to all of us, and you especially, Kaylee. Oh, thanks, Diana. Appreciate that a lot. Hope to see you at the Dream Show tomorrow. Thank you, Kaylee. That was fun. I'm going to email you because I want to do tarot exercises and games on my channel. Oh, sure. Yeah. Karen, just shoot me an email, and I would love to hop on with you. Bye, Annie Bear. Have a good night. And everybody else, have a great night too. We will talk again soon. I'll see you around the tube. And everybody have a great rest of your week as well. Bye now.